waffling on the hip.
There's a chill in the air, and we're in the studio, and we'll talk about something right after this.
Something.
Oh, and here we are.
Hello.
Good morning.
I was not quite expecting it to be a slight chilly when I stepped out of the house this morning, but it was.
Crisp.
And I enjoyed it. I like it.
So my alarm was set to go off at 5:15, but Shayna's alarm went off at 4:30.
Gee whiz.
And I was
Shayna.
just,
I mean,
well,
I'm a
she does
morning
it every
person.
morning, but normally,
I'm a morning person.
yeah.
Holy cow.
Normally I sleep right through it.
That's a middle of the night person.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Middle
But
of
I
the
was
night.
like, you know what? I'm awake. I'm going to go for a run. So I just got out of bed, jogged 3 miles. But yes, when I went out to go for a jog, I was like, woo,
Yeah.
I might have put some sleeves on.
Yeah.
That was,
there you go.
anyway.
I'll bet at that time it was even a little chilly.
It was. But honestly, it was pretty great.
Yeah.
It was.
There's
It woke
nothing
me
like,
up.
I like starting, I don't jog, but starting a nice walk and you're like, ooh, I'm kind of chilly. And by the end of it, you're like, oh, I'm feeling good. It's the right temperature.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's good. But I'm loving it. I'm ready for fall.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
am
excited that
too.
it's going to be 85 degrees this afternoon.
We could use some rain. Holy
yeah.
guacamole.
Did I see that maybe there's a tropical
I think
system
about a
moving up
hurricane
out of the Gulf?
situation.
Let's
Maybe.
go to the weather studio and see what they got.
I'll go over to the green
we don't-
screen.
Arthur, our meteorologist.
We don't have one of those yet.
I just
but,
made Arthur
the
up.
position
He's
Is
not
Arthur
real.
the name of the tropical system?
Good morning,
Oh, wait.
Beth. No, I don't. That would have been really smart of me to make that connection, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I just made up a
We're
name.
too
Good
late
morning,
in the season
Diana.
for a name beginning with the letter A.
Yeah, I don't know, but I have heard rumor that up through Texas and then maybe into the week. I don't know. Some of our lovely viewers could possibly confirm if we're supposed to get some rain. But I mean, I looked
I'm
at
all
my
in on it.
I looked at my plants this morning. They're like, ah,
Yeah.
I'm dying.
I actually dug up all my green beans. They were still producing,
beans?
but they were slowing down. And quite frankly, I'm tired of picking them and blanching them. So I was like, all right, I'm going to pull
Green
these vines
beans are
up.
kind of a thing.
I have enough.
Yeah,
Just say that, I have
everybody
enough.
has enough green beans.
They're great though.
They're
be in
they're
Dojao.
tasty. What's
What's
that?
spicy garlic green beans.
That sounds nice.
If you're in China and you want spicy garlic green beans, you ask for Gambian Dojao.
Oh, and they're like
Whatever you
yes.
call them, I love
Pretty
spicy
good.
green beans.
They're pretty good.
Spicy green beans.
I guess you're
with the
telling me
garlic.
I should water the weeping willow I just planted.
Yeah, it needs
If you
water
haven't been,
every
you-
day.
it's thirsty.
If you just planted it, it needs it every day.
I put it by the pond, so
It's right, but every day.
it's not there yet. Okay, I'll go.
If you just planted it.
Yeah, I'll go home and water it. But I put
Yeah.
a bunch of mulch around it so it would retain.
That helps.
That helps. Don't over mulch it though. People put mulch too high up on the trunk.
Oh, I'm sure I did that.
Don't do that. It creates
You're
like
that
bad
guy.
root
I'm that
system.
guy. If a little bit's
It
good,
strangles
a
them.
lot.
I'm just
It's gotta be
whatever.
better. I've learned that's not true, but that's
You
still
do
my
the
mode.
donut technique. Think of it as a
Whatever
donut
was
around
in
it.
the bag was what I put around the tree.
Yeah, you just
One bag, you're probably
you'll
fine.
see these where they've mounded the
Yeah.
up to the several inches up the trunk.
and
you
that's
don't want to do
bad.
that. That's bad.
Oh.
That's bad.
It's like fungus.
Well, I
around
got to
the-
go. I got some
donut.
work
Base
to
of
do.
the tree,
I got to water my
Will's
tree
like,
and
I'm
fix
killing my tree.
Hey,
I gotta
Diana.
go.
I got to go.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Donut method,
Hey,
right? You can envision the donut of mulch around the
Morning,
tree.
Beth.
Okay.
Diana beat you this morning, Beth.
Did.
Well, I
That
don't
may
know.
have been Peter, the
I
way he
think-
was
I
putting
think,
it up there.
I think he rolled him out.
No, he says no.
he's-
Producer
he's
says no.
denying it.
No, Diana wins.
Plausible deniability.
Oh, goodness. So we're in the
Well-
swing of fall things.
We had a really good meal.
yeah, I wanna hear about this.
Saturday night. Holy
Tell me
cow.
the details.
We
Spill
got
the
in
tea.
on that seafood boil at Divine.
Oh,
Valley
yeah, I
right here
saw
in
that
Rochester.
advertised.
So good.
But having just been to Maine, I was like, yeah.
That's fair.
that.
That's
I'm sure
fair.
he gets it
would've
fresh,
been-
though.
it
Doug
would've
always
been-
gets
he
fresh
does.
stuff.
It would have been
Yeah.
reminiscent for you, I think. But,
Yes.
you know, there are chain seafood restaurants, not to name any names, that do seafood boils.
Yeah.
And you can get different kinds and all that in there. And I don't get them anymore when I go there.
Yeah.
And because I'm just like, it's disappointing.
The shrimp tastes rubbery, or
like, yeah.
you can't chew on
There's
it.
no love in there.
Yeah.
But this was so good.
The
That's
corn's
good.
like
It looked
wilted.
good.
Well, and
Yeah.
and you know, presentation is part of everything.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
he's papered the tables and
Which- yep.
comes out and just dumps it.
That's
on
my
your-
favorite.
just dumps it
That's
on
a,
the
Bash.
that's a proper boil right there.
Yeah, and then she puts shakes on the Old Bay.
Oh,
and
man.
it was so good.
See,
Now-
stuff.
in my first church, I mean, we're going back a ways, almost 30 years now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a family that moved from southern Louisiana.
There you go.
And so when they would come back home from a visit,
Yeah.
they would invite us over for a boil.
There you go.
And when
That's
they would
awesome.
just dump it on the table, oh my goodness, you know, when you have a true Cajun cooking for you.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
And you know,
Love it.
The thing is, I'll get in there, and I mean, we'll eat the you know, the crab and the shrimp and all that stuff. But I'll
Yeah.
get, like the corn is
Yeah.
good, the potatoes.
Oh,
it's
it's all good.
It's all so good. when
Love
do
You got to
that,
put
but-
some butter sauce on it, you know?
Yep,
That's
yep.
the good stuff.
All the
butter was
butter.
there.
All the
Butter,
butter.
get the
It was
butter.
there. But yeah, you got to make reservations for that. So what you
It's
need
cool.
to do is you need to get on the Facebook and like that Divine Deli page here in Rogersville.
Yeah.
So that you get the notification, so that you know when they're going to do that.
Is he doing it like monthly or what? Or just seasonally?
I don't know.
He's still
Just when
trying
he
to decide,
decides.
decide what the schedule is, because he's did some other special.
Yeah, like the prime rib night.
prime rib night. They do Italian nights.
They kind of took a break over the summer because
Yeah.
I understand summer's really tough in restaurant business. It is,
particularly in a
because
smaller town like this.
Yeah.
I keep introducing people to Divine. I just keep
No.
taking them there. I
so
love it.
good.
They're like, oh, this is amazing. I'm like, yeah, that's why I brought you here.
Yeah, right here in Rogersville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
that's cool. Well, I'm glad the seafood bowl turned out good, and I'm excited for him to do some more menu special dinners and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah, I think so.
It's
too.
good.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm eating so boring right now because I landed myself in the ER last week
Did you
with esophageal spasms. Have you ever had those? Have you ever had
No.
these?
No.
Probably because I take Nexium every day.
Well, it feels like you're having a heart attack.
That's what I've heard.
And I knew what it was, but at the same time, it was so bad and lasted so long that I'm like, I really got to go rule out a heart attack because I don't want my husband to wake up, and find his wife dead because
Yeah.
that would suck.
That's a
So
bummer.
Even dead, Lauren, you'd be like, I'm fine. I'm
I'm
fine. I'm
fine.
going to work.
I'm fine.
I'm going to work.
So it was one of those where I woke up. This was like Wednesday morning, so I woke up at like 4 a.m. I'm like, ooh, that didn't feel good. And then it was like stomach pain and chest pain. I mean, chest pain. And I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, surely this will pass. You know how like gas or an upset stomach
Were you
is.
just
Usually-
dehydrated? What they?
I don't. I think
You're gonna knock that phone right off of
almost
there,
did.
Melissa.
I
Take
think
that.
I've got an ulcer. Is my guess.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I was highly stressed recently for a while. I was highly not eating like I'm supposed to this summer. It was a bad eat summer, where I was eating a lot of just kind of crap on the go, which is it's very toxic these days. You got to be careful.
I feel that.
Yeah, it's yeah.
So I want to go get my blood drawn again because I want
Yeah.
to redo. I hadn't been to a doctor for like almost 15
Just for
years.
fun?
Yeah.
Or- yeah.
So I wanted to establish a baseline because I do know I've got high blood pressure and high cholesterol in my family.
Yeah.
And even though I work out a ton, and so
some
I'm
people still do.
borderline high cholesterol.
Yeah.
Like I'm not there, but I'm right there.
Yeah.
So it's like, but
Been
I
riding
want
that 199 for
I-
quite a while.
I want to redo because I know how I ate this summer.
Yeah. Well, and it kind of sneaks up on you. Like, I in general, I'm not the most healthiest organic eater on the planet, but in general, I don't really drink soda. I don't really eat junk food. I don't really eat a lot of sweets, but I do overeat like most of us do. Right. And so I'm like, Oh man, but we had chicken strips several times at the pool, and then like the fried fish truck down south. Fish truck was in Rogersville, and it is really good. And it just kind of, just a kind of a cycle of probably too much and donuts. Oh, don't open a donut shop. That's dangerous.
I'm not seeing the problem here.
Yeah, I know. And then I was
tastes great.
Highly stressful couple of weeks in real estate, and I think I got an ulcer, or it's called gastrin something, which basically your stomach just gets really mad at you. And my dad had these esophageal spasms when he was probably in his late 30s or so, laying him in the hospital in Springfield. They did a gambit of tests and racked up like $20,000 worth of medical bills because he didn't have insurance at the time. And this would have been a long time ago. And so, the ER is disgusting. I'm sorry. It is. Oh my gosh. My doctor was great. My nurses were great. I ended up in the...
Yes, Beth, and thanks for the complete title.
Time to Loaf.
Wonderful.
And
Time to Loaf Garden Bakery
that
LLC.
doesn't help having a
I
bakery.
think it's because she linked it.
I bet she linked it.
Yeah, she linked it. But it doesn't show that way on the screen. That's
the
amazing.
bakery next door. And I've learned to regulate myself on the bakery pretty well, but it's so delicious. And the trip I was like, I don't want to go to the ER, but when you have chest pain, they're going to send you to the ER. There's
And straight back.
Yeah.
You skip the line with the chest pains.
So I get there,
So little hack right there. Just if you
Yeah.
go to the ER,
Yeah, I'm having chest pains.
I cut my finger off and my chest.
And
Well-
my chest is real. I'm really having severe chest pains. But it's
like a weight.
It's the kidney that's really kind
the
of bothering
kidney.
me.
Yeah. But this hurts too. Well, what they do with chest pains is they hook you up to an EKG immediately and then you go sit down and wait.
Oh, you're
But
fine.
luckily,
you can wait 5 hours.
I had got there before, and I waited 2 hours before I went. I'm like, I'm going to wait till I can wake the girls up.
you should have waited there. They're going to make you wait that 2 hours anyway.
Right.
So I got there.
You should
and
be able to
then,
call ahead.
Yeah. Be like, can I have a
reserve
reservation?
spot? Yeah, can I have a reservation for the ER?
I know it's going to
your
be a
wait time?
while.
5
Could you
hours?
give
Good
me one of
idea.
those?
This is a really good idea.
Could you give me one of those
It's
clicker
brilliant.
things at the like a drone drops you the clicker
Yeah,
and
we're
you
gonna
hold
go to TGI
or a text
Fridays.
message would be
Just
reasonable.
give me the little clicker. I'm going to go
Yeah.
to TGI Fridays. Let me know when the doctor's ready to see me.
But I did end up in the there's a pediatric ER at Mercy, and it is very nice. I just want to say it looks like a well-oiled machine.
Why'd you go to the pediatric?
all
Well,
for the kids.
because I'm that cute. No, no.
Do you have a little bow in your hair?
Hi, I'm 12.
I'm Clara.
I'm Clara. They weren't busy because it's not RSV season, I think, yet, and the main ER was busy, and so I think they put about 3 or 4 groups of us in there.
overflow.
It's super nice, and again, the service was good. The ER is creepy.
I have a feeling they wouldn't send me there. They look at me like, nope, you're
Yeah.
too old.
You, sir, go sit in that broken chair.
You're in the right spot.
So I don't know. It was an experience, but basically, it's like hey, you gotta. What did she tell me? I'm trying some Prilosec and some other stuff, and you're not having a heart. And they did very well make sure I was not having a heart attack. And the crazy thing was, they ended up giving me nitro, which is what they give you when you're having a heart attack, to stop the spasms but they didn't stop.
I thought they'd give you an IV.
No, they tried the
hydrated.
Mylanta stuff and the numbing lidocaine. No. And finally,
Your
they're like,
esophagus was like, no, I'm
it was
angry.
mad.
And you're going to know about it.
24 hours of
gosh.
constant pain, pretty intense. So they gave me the nitro. That's a weird experience. I don't suggest those.
Your whole body just going to go cold.
They give you one and you dissolve it under your tongue, and then which everybody knows about this for heart attacks, right? You're popping nitros on TV.
Yeah.
They give you one and you sit there and you feel it in your brain.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, I bet.
And then they wait 5 minutes and then they give you another one to make sure you're not going to bottom out too quick. And it's weird.
Yeah.
So now I know what that's like.
Okay.
I don't know.
Fun.
The ER is an interesting place to go.
Oh, yeah.
Last time I was there with somebody else.
It's kind of right up there with Walmart. I mean, it's...
Yeah, it really kind of is.
Yeah, people
Walmart at
watching
2
fun.
a.m.
There was
Yeah.
some gal that was not happy, and she was waiting. They had her in a wheelchair. She's waiting, and she's just screaming.
Aw.
You're sitting in the waiting room, and she's just like, "I'm dying. Somebody help me! Somebody help me! I'm dying over here." You're like, "I'm pretty sure you're not.
I don't think you're dying.
I don't think so."
Yeah, never heard a dying person be that noisy.
And if you did, here's my card. So
Oh my gosh. You probably wouldn't want her
no,
as a client.
no, really don't.
oh,
no.
man.
She'd be like, "You never called me back."
Yeah. I've been waiting 10 minutes. Nobody called me back.
Nobody called me back.
What's the matter with you people?
But no, I mean, the staff is great, but holy moly, they have an impossible job. There was, a bag of drugs in the parking lot next to our car when we left. I mean,
Excuse me, ma'am, you dropped something?
here's my thought for the moment. You only know what you see every day, and most of us are not exposing ourselves to the bowels of society. Ideally, the fringe.
Everybody compartmentalizes.
Yes.
You have to survive.
Yeah,
right? If you sat around and
absolutely.
thought about everything that's going on in this world,
You'd have an ulcer.
You wouldn't want to get out of bed.
You'd have an
Yeah,
ulcer.
Well, yeah, I mean, I spent 20 years in criminal court.
Ew, yeah.
Yeah.
Gross.
It gets you used to a whole different
A whole different, and maybe that's why you are the way you are.
Maybe that explains a few
Give
things,
Will
doesn't
some
it?
grace. He did deal with criminals for ever, and so I mean, I
Self-inflicted,
get a
though,
little
right?
bit
So-
while you're passionate about your opinions on things.
He's
you
seen
have
a
some
few things.
experience.
He's seen some things.
Well, that's like growing up with a lawyer as a dad. All of the honesty presented to you
Yeah.
as a youngin,
Yeah.
this is what you can do and can't do, blah blah blah,
And
or
here's
this
why.
happens.
Yeah, this is the result.
But I don't know. Sometimes it's kind of good to expose yourself to the things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I just remember all three of the boys, at their 17th birthday, I'm like, okay, you're an adult now.
yeah.
You get
Here's
to
what
go
this
to
means.
You get to go to big boy court when you do something wrong now. You don't
Yeah.
get do-overs anymore.
That's exactly my friend JJ bounded into our house, and I think this was her 18th birthday, not her 17th. But she bounded into the house, said, "John, I turned 18," and he's like, "Congratulations, now you can be sued." That's all he said to JJ. Congratulations, now you can be sued. Yeah.
I don't know, Beth. I'm really not the money guy. really not. I hire people to do the financials for me, so I'm not sure what I do.
Yeah.
Argue.
Let us know when you figure it out.
Yeah, well, we'll let you figure it out. I guess I'll write your trust.
There you go.
I guess that's financials. We'll take
Yeah,
care
End
of
of
that.
life.
I think that's what she meant.
That's probably what she meant. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I'm on the boring, healthy eating train. No more fried fish for me. Darn it.
Yeah,
I'll have lunch
I had a
with
cheat
today.
summer. You know how some people have cheat day? I just had a cheat summer.
So instead of a brat summer, you got a cheat summer.
That summer. Gee.
I'm trying to clean it up now.
Oh goodness, good times.
Cheat on food. I just want to be clear.
Understood. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to
Pastor
remember where we
Chris
started.
We all-
is
Your
cheating
wife
on
was
his
with
diet.
you
My
while
you
wife
were
was with me
cheating.
while I was cheating. We cheated together.
I figured it out, Beth.
With food.
Thank you. Good call.
With food.
With food.
Yeah.
Oh,
my
goodness.
Yeah, don't get the wrong idea.
But I mean, a seafood boil, that'd be something reasonable I could eat, though. That's
Yeah.
not too crazy as
Yeah,
long as
well,
I
you
don't
know,
chug the butter sauce.
Kind of low carb. And all
Yeah,
that.
it
Most of the
is.
protein. I mean, there's the potatoes and corn, but
You can limit yourself on that.
not a lot of fat and all
Yeah.
that,
Right.
except for the butter sauce that you said. I guess that's.
Well, so we made a pot of beans over the weekend. It's that
been
weather.
working on 'em.
Just the old brown beans.
Yep.
Made that over the weekend, and because they're healthy and
We had chili for the first time
beans.
this weekend.
Blessings.
Yeah.
Chili blessings.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like you gotta just say, all right, it's cool enough. Let's do this.
It's chili. It's time for chili.
Shelby's been asking, is it time for butter chicken yet? Can we make butter chicken?
Ooh,
yet?
yeah. I feel like
It's always time
yes,
for
it's
butter
always
chicken,
time for
right?
butter
A
chicken.
little zingy in the summer. But
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Isn't it really hot in a lot of India?
yeah.
Yeah.
But, we're not Indian.
I know.
We're hillbillies. So, if it's
little-
spicy food, we
a little
save it
spicy.
for the winter.
That's
Stop myself
funny.
there. Started to do the Indian accent.
Oh, don't try it. Don't do that one.
My
It
kids
would-
are pretty good at it. It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, that's what I'm not going to attempt.
So are the Simpsons. But
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man.
how does so many things? So many things we're watching Cheers, and once again we saw an episode like, oh, they can't show that now.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Can't show it
Canceled
anymore.
so fast.
We finished it last
Yeah.
night. We watched.
Did you?
We watched the series finale of Cheers last night. Where
You guys,
Good job.
Speaking of
It's
watching
long.
stuff, you excited to watch the debate tonight?
I'm still debating whether I'm going to watch that.
I didn't even
It
know
is not a
was
debate
tonight.
for me.
The
This
decision
is-
is kind of made because Shelby will be at a Bible study tonight. Will not be home, so I might as well.
I'll be on a bus ride coming back from Web City, so I'm just planning. I'm gonna put my
Just
AirPods
plug in,
and watch
get
and
some
just all
popcorn.
the laughs,
I think I'm going to watch.
all the laughs.
Yeah. Just,
I don't think I'm going to watch it.
You just can't stomach it.
As previous noted ulcer situation, I don't
You
think I
can
can watch it.
call- just
No,
bow out
people
of
keep
this.
sending me these videos. Says, you got to watch this video of like Tim Walls and what he said. And and it's like it's at the end. I'm like, no, you can't send it to me at the end because I
Yeah.
can't watch
Give me a
5
clip.
minutes.
Yeah,
of
give me a
that.
clip.
I can't watch 5 minutes of that. I can't get through it. I just can't get through it.
It's a
Like,
mess.
Oh my gosh.
It's a mess. I don't think it's a
I
mess.
just think tonight is
I-
must-watch TV.
Oh my gosh.
That
For me,
guy-
it's you gotta
What-
laugh or you're gonna cry.
What? Yeah. It's the laughing, crying emoji situation.
I would think that. I mean, Tim Walsh looks like what's the guy's name? Chris Wallace's favorite target. I mean,
I don't know.
I don't
Catch
know.
a Predator.
Oh, I don't know anything about him.
I'm just listening to him talk and watching his mannerisms. I'm like,
Just don't
this
like
is
it.
Not right.
Something's
This is-
off.
This is not a man.
I don't know what to think.
Like a normal.
It's
It's just.
I'm just.
Cringe. He's
I
cringe.
don't know.
He's just cringe.
Is he cringe?
Yeah.
They're all cringe, in
They're
my
all
opinion.
cringe.
They're
Not
all
like this.
cringe.
Not like this. I mean,
Is he a
Kamala's
different
cringe,
type
but
of
it's a
cringe?
different kind of cringe. It's
I don't.
like,
Trump is cringe. I mean, they're
Tim
all
Wall-
cringe.
I'm gonna cringe at a lot of
I'm
things
gonna
he's gonna
cringe
say
at the
tonight.
way he
Tim
says.
Walls is the guy's like, I wouldn't trust him with my kids. Kind of cringe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Ugh.
I don't know the guy. I don't know
me
anything about
Gives me
him.
the creeps.
What a
No,
mess.
I'm just in it for the laughs.
Yeah.
I don't expect to learn anything tonight.
Well, no.
I don't. I bet you won't. I
No,
bet
I
you won't.
promise
I
you
bet
I
you will
won't.
not learn anything.
yeah.
They make fun of. Remember, they used to give Bush all the crap about not being a good public speaker and make
No,
fun of
Beth,
him.
We won't.
Yeah. No, 100%, Beth. There's
But you can go to Trump's website and read his platform.
that is fair. At
Yeah,
least there's a
yeah.
published platform.
Yeah, there's
and there's no hiding behind.
Here's.
We're late to the game.
The
We'll get it out there
mainstream media.
eventually.
I was thinking
hiding
about.
behind the media.
I was thinking about this morning, and after a conversation I had with somebody yesterday. I think the problem is a lot of the comments getting thrown around right now on both sides, which I, to be real transparent, don't know exactly what they're saying because I'm not listening.
You're just
I'm
checking
not
out.
tuned in. I don't need to know about the world's problems. It's too much. And we got a lot of Band-Aids getting thrown around and not a lot of, like, let's fix the root of the problem
Because
situation.
surgery is painful,
Yeah.
and it takes a while to recover from it.
Yeah, but I think even some of the stuff that's the, and I don't really want to go down the deep dive of the gun issue, but it's like we had another school shooting. So it's either take guns or arm people or
Right.
that doesn't fix the fact that we have
Only-
children wanting to kill children.
Only the extreme sound bites.
yeah,
That's all we get. Nothing of any substance.
So like we have children that want to kill children. A lack of a gun or a armed guard's not going to fix that. What is the cause of that?
Yeah.
Well, there's several causes. I mean, ultimately, we have a sin problem. So that's your ultimate problem.
Yeah, but that
But you want.
she's talking about the crescendo of the problem.
Yeah.
Especially in our culture.
You don't have fathers in homes. That's really.
No, it's huge.
No, well,
huge.
it is huge. It is huge, but
Yeah,
we've not had fathers in
statistics
homes.
bear it.
We've not had fathers in homes for a long time, right?
I think it.
And actually, honestly, I would argue that there's more dads readily involved in their kids' lives than there were 20, 30 years ago.
I would say they're involved differently.
Yeah.
So, but
I don't know. I would say they're
the stats
more-
actually bear out that we have more absentee dads, either physically absent or emotionally absent, and this seems to be a big part of the issue.
Well, and like I said, that's been going on for a long time. I mean, there's been dads absent from families.
Well, we're
and
designed to have an ordered society, and the ordered society begins with a stable family.
Yeah.
I think
And you don't have a
here's-
stable family, you can't have a stable.
I agree with that, but what's been the main difference in the past 20 years? What's the main difference?
social media.
Yeah. The internet.
It's hard to
readily available internet.
And I would tag on to that. Just emotional health in general
Yeah.
is not, and which is fascinating because nobody talked about emotional health until the last 2 decades.
No.
So
Yeah.
we talk about it a lot, but back to your illustration of a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
We talk about it, and it's like because we're talking about it, we're putting these faux fixes on emotional health, and we feel good about it because we've talked about it. We're
yeah, we feel good
awareness.
about it 'cause we've talked about it.
People are getting help, but they're not getting good help, and they're not getting right help, and so
Yeah.
it's all a big. And that's not. Hear me. That is not to put down counselors and the counseling, the work that counselors can
No.
do. But there's a lot of really bad counseling going on out there. There's some good ones,
Yeah.
but there's
Yeah.
a lot of really bad counseling that's going on as well.
Well, and you know,
Being told, well, that's just who you are. Lean into that rather than
let's fix
we have
it.
some issues.
There's-
Let's work through it.
to the point you're saying, we have all these conversations now about kindness. When I was growing up in the late 80s, early 90s,
Depends on the kid, Beth. Depends on
there
the kid.
was, there was no talk about kindness. We didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about that. And there was some bullying. I will say that. There was what I think of as the traditional, this kid is picking on this kid at school because he doesn't like the way he or she dresses or went out with their boyfriend or whatever it is. And there was that type of bullying. We talk about kindness every day. And the type of bullying I see now, there's just rampant, just on top of kids, can't escape it, constant, telling kids to go kill themselves, what's wrong with you, you're a loser, all that. And then a different layer of bullying where it's, I don't want to play with you today. I don't want you to hang out with us today. Constantly. Why we're having all these conversations about kindness and anti-bullying, and it's not doing a darn bit of good. Why is that?
Like I said, I think we've got little sound bites, little talking points. But it's almost like a Band-Aid on the problem.
To some extent,
we feel better because we talked about it.
Yeah.
But we didn't do anything about it.
When we were growing up, and even a little after that, there were some pressure valves present in the school system
100%.
that are not existent now.
I agree.
And to some extent, it's a problem of the anti-bullying issues.
We're trying to fix all the kids' problems for themselves.
you know what? I mean, how many times when you were growing up, Chris, was there a fight in the parking lot?
No,
It was pretty regularly.
Yeah, I won't say constant, but it was.
Yeah, it was pretty regularly.
You weren't shocked that it happened.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a pressure valve. It's a pressure release.
Right.
I mean, whoever it was, they dealt with their problems. I mean, maybe that wasn't the best way to deal with it, but they didn't go grab a gun and shoot the place up either.
They didn't do that, and
because
also,
the gun was in the truck.
Their first response also was to not go tell a teacher or whatever. It was, we're going to deal with this, And again, I'm not saying that's necessarily right, but I do think that today's kids have lost that ability to just kind of work through it themselves.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying unhealthy ways of working through things is always right, but I'm certainly saying
it's a lesser.
We very quickly go and say, "Hey, I got a problem here. Deal with this."
We go into lawyer mode,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of my boys who still remain nameless in elementary school, there was a kid that was messing with him, and the kid's like, "Well, let's fight. I want to fight." And so
they fought.
Yeah, and my kid got the better of it. In the right way, won the fight, I guess, and the principal was like, "Well." Kind of like, well, he had it coming. It was no big deal.
Yeah.
You won't hear that anymore.
It's like, that kid needed to get his clock cleaned, and it happened, and there you go. It was okay.
And the other thing, there were no...
It wasn't Peter.
There were no first shooter, violent, realistic video games. I'm trying to think of when the first ones of those would have come out.
You'll get laughed at. So, honestly, there's a book I read called On Killing, by Lieutenant Colonel Rex Grossman. And he goes through historical warfare and essentially says most soldiers in World War I didn't even fire their weapon.
It's interesting.
They don't. And why? Because they were close.
Yeah.
When you see somebody in the eyeballs, you don't want to kill them.
Yeah.
And so there was a desire to not kill, but now our weaponry has increased where you can kill from further away. Now it's easier to kill. And so his point was essentially, as you detach, it becomes easier to kill.
Detachment.
And
yes.
So he walked through how video games essentially have trained teenagers who've maybe never even held an actual gun, train them how to do it because you do it systematically over and over and over again.
Yep.
And it just becomes natural to you to stand in that perfect stance and pull the trigger.
Yep.
So, and that was research. He wrote that book early 2000s. So it was, I remember hearing him speak right after Columbine. And of course, I mean, we've just only seen it progress. So there is something to that.
100%.
But people will still laugh at you for saying it.
And there's not one thing. It's not a one thing problem that's
one
caused
part
this.
of the big problem.
It's one part. We've always had the dysfunctional families. That's been around since the family unit was created. We have a dysfunctional family situation. Why? It's the imperfectness of humans, right?
Yeah, the whole Abraham and Sarah thing was a little dysfunctional.
So
just a bit.
So we've got a dysfunctional family, and we've got a kid that isn't been given the best opportunities in life and maybe dealing with, in the situation of this kid, his parents were separated and he was not handling that well, it sounds like. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say most of these shooters have probably played violent video games from far too young of an age. Plugging a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old into a headset. Because I can speak from experience a little bit. I spent 1 year of my life playing way too much Call of Duty. Like me and Jesse and the boys plugged in. And it's when we didn't have any money because the economy was in a recession and we had nothing to do. And so we plugged in and we played the crap out of Call of Duty. And it was so much fun.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But it is so much fun. But we were 25 years old and our brains were probably fully developed.
Mostly.
And we were doing it with our friends as a group, plugging an 8-year-old into a headset and giving them access to a violent video game is bonkers.
Well, you're making a strong case that, children are not the best at making their own decisions.
Weird, right?
Crazy.
Weird.
Crazy.
So
You mean that really parents should be involved and parents should be making a lot of decisions for their kids
yeah,
and not letting the kids, run the household, decide things for themselves.
because believe it or not, they're going to be adults someday.
Brilliant.
So, you throw in a dysfunctional family situation, a lack of parenting combined with that, a plugged into violent video games or violent TV or violent YouTube content, because we all know once you watch one thing, more and more piles on, right? The algorithm puts more and more of that same thing right in front of you, and you've got what we've got today. And then add a different type of constant bullying. And you've got what we've got going on.
And yet, with all of that, you have an issue with 1/1000th of 1% of the population.
But I think at the same time, though, you can say that, but that doesn't do anything to solve the problem.
No, it doesn't.
Because it is happening more,
Sure.
right?
Well,
It is.
I mean, over
yes,
time.
it is. It is happening more. There are more school shootings than there used to be. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this
So-
20 years versus the 20 years before that.
Yeah, but
This-
also what's happened in that 20 years? The internet. So the whole point I'm trying to get to is we're trying to policy things on a different world than we're living in right now.
Yeah, that's probably right.
The internet has created a different world than we've ever seen before.
Yeah. Well, and again, policy will never replace what is done in the home.
It won't.
Parents.
Absolutely not.
You gotta
Yeah,
have a
and I
solid
would
home.
even posit can't replace what was once not just taught in the home, but then reinforced in schools.
And yeah, it was reinforced in schools. It was
And at
reinforced
church.
by your grandparents
And- yep.
and your church
And your neighbors.
the storekeeper that
Yep.
owned the Ben Franklin store.
Yeah,
and
because they all knew you.
They
and
all knew you, and they all told you were acting a fool when you were
Yeah.
acting a fool. I mean, and they did.
And that's not even just a small town thing. That's even
That's
in a big
life.
city. There's neighborhoods where you were known by your neighbors and people you went to church with and the local store owner. So it's just culture's shifted and
Yeah.
we're much less communal. We have pseudo community right through social media.
Yeah. Well, and no real attachment. A lot of people have no real attachment to their community,
Right.
Because they're plugged in, or frankly, gone all the time.
Sure.
So find a church,
Yeah.
join a small group,
Yeah.
build some community, take care of yourself.
Yeah.
There was a time when we used to talk about, maybe if we could solve the problem, what we really need is like some Democrats and some Republicans and some politicians and some business people and maybe some immigrants, people from all different walks of life, to maybe if they could all come together on the same team,
Yeah.
then maybe we could solve something.
Yeah.
Have you noticed we have that?
you
You
call
got Trump, you got RFK, you got Tulsi Gabbard.
Well, Will, you can
you got,
say that,
you got
but
Vivek Ramaswamy, you got Elon Musk. You've got Democrats, you've got Republicans, you've got people from all sides of the political spectrum all on the same team.
You feel
It's a
that
dream
way
team.
about that, but I think the majority of people who look at those people don't feel that way about
But
that.
that's because they're not seeing it through a proper lens. They're looking at it from the mainstream media.
I'm not watching the mainstream media, and I don't
Tulsi
see it
Gabbard
that
was
way.
a Democrat. She ran for president as a Democrat. RFK comes from a Democrat family. I mean, these are people. I think you need to give
You're also
a little
talking
bit
about
of
like
thought.
you're also talking about like 7 or 8 people, and there's 7 billion people in the world. You know, and I think
growing all the time.
And I don't. Yeah, but at the same time, I'm also seeing comments like, you know, basically that all Republicans have to disappear because all Republicans are the problem, which is not true.
Well, I was going to counter Bush,
No, only half
Bush
of
and Cheney are supporting Kamala.
Oh yeah, so is Cheney.
So-
yeah.
So really, what
Yeah.
you've got is you've got the lines along. These
It's a
are
good
the
point.
These are the deep state. We've always been politicians. We're all Washington bought in,
Which
and
is
the
why
outsiders.
I don't trust RFK Jr. and why I don't trust anybody in that batch. It's why I don't trust a billionaire like Elon Musk.
Everybody's
Because-
protecting their own interests, right?
Because that's where I'm at. I see them in the same category that I see the Dick Cheneys and all that stuff.
At the end of the day, you got to decide who,
Yeah.
who
it's-
supports your
And
cause a little
again,
more than the other.
It's just like a difference of opinion. Like, I know you see it that way, and that's fine. I look at those people and say, I don't trust that group of people because I don't trust Kamala and I don't trust Dick Cheney or Liz Cheney. I don't trust them either.
Right.
Right? Because I have seen the things that they all have done over the past. Like, how could I sit there and trust a Kennedy? How could I sit there and trust? I just don't trust them. And maybe that's a problem on my part of not being very trustworthy of
Trusting.
people in higher or trusting of people in higher positions
I think you're
that I
trustworthy.
don't know. Thank you. That I don't know and that have not shown me that they have my best interest in mind, because those people have not shown that to me.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that's where we are in the political game. Is
Yeah.
I don't trust any of them, and yet I
Yeah.
got to decide which one do I align with the most. I don't trust any of them in terms of their character or their.
I'm not going to go to bat for any of those people. They have never shown up and gone to bat for me. Does that make sense?
I am impressed with all of them on the team that I said for different reasons.
And they're impressive people
I'm-
who've done
I'm-
impressive
yeah.
things.
I don't want to
Yeah.
discredit them
I'm-
all.
Yeah,
I'm impressed
completely.
that-
I don't fully trust any of them.
correct.
I get that, but I see things that cause me to want to give them maybe the benefit of the doubt. Because I look at Trump and I'm like, why is he even doing this?
And that's
And
a
people
valid
will-
argument. I
people
feel
will
the
say,
same
"Oh,
way.
it's his ego." Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
think
he's
it's his
already
ego.
been president.
And he already had a huge ego
He
and had a
got
stroke to know.
shot.
Yeah.
He lost money. He's being prosecuted for
Constantly.
doing all of this.
Yeah.
I mean,
But-
there's a good incentive for him to just go, screw it. I'm going to take my billions and go buy an island and
They
live well.
don't do that, though. That's Elon Musk has billions of dollars.
Right,
He
so-
could just retire.
Yeah, he could, but he's not. He's
But
out there
it's-
fighting this stuff.
It's not for the good of the people.
Are you
it's
sure
for,
about that?
I'm sure about that.
See, I'm not.
It's for them.
I don't
Think
see-
about
I don't-
about
I
every.
honestly- I don't
so
see what's
I
in it
would
for
push
Elon.
back on that a little bit. I agree and I disagree. And I agree to the point that that's human nature, and I've seen it played out over and over again. So for me to not believe that on some level would be a bit naive.
Sure.
However, I never want to characterize somebody as completely bad, if you will. I don't know, that's probably
Yeah.
not the best word, but
Yeah.
impure in their motives. There's some purity of thought. I got to think, I mean, Elon Musk, he does want to improve things. He does. He loves to create. He loves to see, hey, what would happen if we did this? So there's some purity in there as well. I just don't know to what degree is it pure and
that's the
impure.
question, because there's these people who become the billionaires of society. Okay, and I'm coming a lot from this from the perspective of somebody who worked in major corporations and saw the CEOs come in, because you don't become the CEO of a major corporation
Unless you're
without pushing more. They're not the nice guys. They're not the guys that and gals that show up every day and support the whole team. They're not them. Those aren't the ones that rise up. The promoted people are the ones who say the right things, do the right
Bottom
things to
line.
get the promotion.
Yeah.
And up they go, and up they go, and up they go. And then they may be very nice people. Usually they would come in, and they'd be the nicest people to talk to.
Narcissists can be very nice.
I didn't want to say it, but there is certain characteristics
Yeah.
that people have that allow them to rise to the top of things. Now, that doesn't mean they're all bad, and it
Or bad
doesn't-
all the time.
or bad all the
It
time.
kind of sounds like that's what you're saying, Lauren, is that if somebody's successful in that area, you inherently don't trust
I'm not
them.
talking about the successful people. I'm talking about
You're talking
the
about a
billionaires.
You're talking about a category of people, a blanket category of people
Yeah.
that meet certain criteria that based on those characteristics, you inherently don't trust them.
Yeah,
Well,
Which is
I
a
will
very-
agree with that.
Which is a very prejudicial
But
way
I'll
of
go back
thinking.
to your premise though that you go too often. The
Evil
heart's
rises.
evil above.
Oh, it
all
attracts,
else, right?
Yeah.
It attracts.
So I think,
But I have to
given
have
her
some
experience,
faith.
and
Oh,
she's
I get
seen
it.
she's seen it played
Sure.
out,
Yeah.
knowing that people start with an evil heart, and most people will live out of that evil heart for their entire life. It makes sense to say I don't trust most of them, or I don't trust all of them most of the time.
Yeah.
Agreed. I do hold out some hope that there are some people that might do things for the right reason.
100%.
And I look
Oh,
at people,
yeah.
and what I'm looking at
Absolutely.
is a group of people on that team. Every one of them has made a personal sacrifice, has taken a
100%.
personal professional hit
100%.
to be where they're at, to do what they're doing.
100%. I
And
totally
that
agree.
gives me the reason to give them the benefit of the doubt. And you know where I don't see that? The other side of the ticket. The other ticket.
I mean, I think more than anything, I'm not trying to argue with you
Hmm.
about our differing opinions on things. I'm trying to present here's what the other side may potentially think.
Oh,
and
I
it's
get-
for this
I get
team
that.
and it's for this team.
Thank you, Beth.
You're making my shins hurt. My shins are cringing. Shins.
Oh, man.
But
We're practically over time.
I
Look at
think
this.
if more people, though, had these type of conversations, that it would be very positive, where it's like, think about the other side of things. Because there's a lot of perspective out there.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah, I am a very conservative person in most respects.
Me too.
But I
yeah.
don't. I'm not down with the whole rank and file Republican thing.
I'm not either.
There's
Me
too much
neither.
there that
It's just icky.
Yeah, and even when we get over here to like even the Tea Party and then the Freedom Caucus and whatever, like I want to align with certain groups, but history has told me that these people are not always trustworthy.
Well, and I'm doing it in my personal life too. It's not just billionaires.
Well,
I mean, it's if I'm around somebody who gives me icky vibes in my normal life, I just choose to not be around them when possible.
Group identity is always complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, joining those groups or being whatever those groups, I can say I have affinity for Freedom Caucus. I have strong affinity for the MAGA movement, but to say I'm this would be difficult.
You're more complex as an individual.
Well, I'm an individual.
I think part of the problem is there's a lot of focus on the wrong things, and approaching the way the speech you use, the way you talk about things, the stuff you stick in your yard. I think there's a real balance to that, and I think a lot of these people are so adamantly feel like their opinion has been suppressed, that they've gone a little too far in the other direction for this side to even hear them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, here's what happens, and I do see it from both sides, and I'll try to call mine out when I see it. But it plays out on social media, on Facebook. But it's like you can go 2 comments in a political conversation on Facebook before somebody starts hurling insults.
100%. Yeah.
Like, okay,
it's
so
terrible.
annoying.
It's
So
so
annoying.
frustrating.
Yeah.
If you can't make your argument without being insulting
Yeah.
and rude, you don't have an argument to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just look at it. You want to see it? Look at my page anytime, and you can look at any political posts I've made, most of them, and you can find somebody that disagrees with me, and they cannot have a
Most of
conversation
the
without
time
being insulted.
It's straw
Darren
man, it's red
Chappell's-
herring,
Straw
it's
man.
ad hominem,
Exactly.
and
Darren
it's all the
Chappell's weighing
classic.
in with a good comment. Darren Chappell, every argument should be started by asking, what if I'm wrong? The inability to see the other side is why so many deny themselves the ability to grow together.
Brilliant. Thank you, Darren.
Agreed.
We better end. I'm
Wonderful
supposed
note
to
to end on.
It was a good conversation.
Good
It was a good conversation.
If you want more, maybe tune in next week.
Maybe.
Maybe not. We may avoid this completely. We'll see what happens.
We probably will. We'll all forget by then.
Have
What
a
are we
great
talking
week.
about?
Bye, everybody.